What if I told you that your morning cup of coffee, that simple, comforting ritual, could be quietly increasing your risk of a stroke? Would you believe me? Each morning, millions of Americans over 60 sip their favorite brew, unaware that some types of coffee strain the heart and brain far more than they help. And here is the unsettling truth. The line between a safe cup and a dangerous one is not always clear. This is why our conversation today is so important. Stroke is the fifth leading cause of death in the United States, affecting nearly 800,000 people every year. Imagine how many of those cases might have been prevented if only they had known which coffees protect the brain and which ones silently push blood pressure and cholesterol toward a breaking point. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something. Is coffee a daily necessity for you, or more of an occasional pleasure? Comment with a simple 1 if you can't imagine a day without it, or a 0 if it's just a now and then treat. And I'll make you a promise. We read and respond to every single comment because your story might just help someone else avoid a dangerous mistake. If you find this kind of insight valuable, I invite you to join our Health 365 community. Simply tap the subscribe button so you never miss our future videos, which are designed to protect not only your health, but the well-being of those you love. So, are you ready? Because in a moment, I will reveal 5 types of coffee that can quietly elevate your stroke risk, and 5 others that actually help protect your brain and heart. Let's begin with a style many find elegant, even a bit exotic. Unfiltered coffee, like a French press or a traditional Turkish brew. It feels rich, bold, almost luxurious. But there's a catch. When coffee is brewed without a paper filter, it retains natural oils called cafestol and kahweol. While these compounds sound harmless, inside your body they can quietly raise your bad cholesterol, making your blood vessels more vulnerable to plaque buildup. Over time, that kind of internal pressure can set the stage for a sudden storm in the brain it was never prepared for. I remember a patient, Mr. Allen, a retired teacher in his 70s, who cherished his morning French press. He believed it was healthier because it felt more natural. But after years of enjoying 3 or 4 cups a day, his doctor discovered unexpected changes in his heart health. What felt like a small, daily pleasure had slowly become a hidden risk. With some gentle guidance, he switched to a different brewing method, and within months, his checkups began to look much better. So, what is the safer choice? A simple paper filter. That thin sheet of paper removes most of those harmful oils while letting all the comforting flavor pass through. It's a small change, but one that could mean protecting your heart and brain every single morning. And speaking of changes, our next type of coffee might surprise you even more. It's often marketed as a high-performance fuel for your day, yet it carries a very different kind of danger. A trend that has exploded in recent years is bulletproof coffee, a mix of brewed coffee, butter, and MCT oil. At first glance, it sounds clever. Combine caffeine with fats that promise steady, long-lasting energy. Online, people praise it for focus and even weight loss. But here is the truth most people don't realize. Butter and coconut-derived oils are loaded with saturated fat. This means every sip isn't just warming you up. It's also contributing to the congestion inside your arteries. Instead of helping your brain fire on all cylinders, it can quietly strain your heart and increase the very risks you're trying to avoid. I think of Sarah, a 65-year-old grandmother who started each morning with bulletproof coffee because her favorite health podcast swore it was the secret to staying young. Within a year, Her doctor noticed her cholesterol creeping up in a way it never had before. She wasn't eating fast food or desserts. Her healthy daily drink was the culprit. When she switched back to a lighter cup of black coffee alongside a balanced breakfast, her energy returned without the hidden cost to her arteries. If you crave that creamy texture, what's the smarter option? Try adding a splash of oat milk or almond milk instead. They create that smooth, comforting taste without flooding your system with dangerous fats. While that might seem like a niche trend, our next coffee is far more common. It appears on every coffee shop menu, laced with sugar in ways that quietly put your brain at risk. Let's step into the world of sweet, creamy coffees. The mochas, the caramel lattes, the frappuccinos piled high with whipped cream. They taste like a dessert in a cup, and that's precisely the problem. Behind that delicious flavor hides a heavy dose of sugar and fat. Each sip sends your blood sugar on a roller coaster, forcing your body to pump out more insulin. Over time, this constant surge can lead to weight gain, diabetes, and high blood pressure, all of which set the stage for a stroke. It feels harmless in the moment, but your brain and heart pay the price later. I remember John, a cheerful 62-year-old who treated himself to a large mocha every afternoon. He thought of it as a little pick-me-up, nothing more. But after a few years, he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. John was shocked. He didn't eat candy or cake every day, so he never suspected his coffee was the real culprit. Once he cut out those sugary drinks, switching to unsweetened cold brew with just a touch of cinnamon, his blood sugar stabilized, and he felt more energetic than he had in years. If you crave flavor without the danger, there are easy swaps. Sprinkle cinnamon, cocoa powder, or even a drop of vanilla into your black coffee. You'll still get that cozy cafe feeling, but without the sugar crash. And if you think sweet coffee is risky, wait until you hear about the next category. The ones loaded with so much caffeine they can overwhelm even a healthy heart. Some people believe that if 1 cup of coffee is good, 3 or 4 must be even better. But when it comes to caffeine, more is not always safe. Drinks like cold brew, double espresso shots, or canned energy coffees can pack far more caffeine than the body is ready for in one sitting. Instead of steady energy, that overload can push your blood pressure up, constrict your blood vessels, and even trigger an irregular heartbeat. For the brain, this internal turbulence creates the perfect conditions for a stroke to strike without warning. Take Michael, a 58-year-old truck driver who relied on energy coffees to stay awake on long hauls. He thought he was just staying alert, but after weeks of heavy use, he began experiencing pounding headaches and dizziness. His doctor explained the problem wasn't just tiredness. It was the extreme caffeine load straining his cardiovascular system. When he cut back to 1 moderate cup in the morning and swapped the energy drinks for water, his symptoms vanished, and he finally felt steady again. So what can you do if you love coffee but want to stay safe? Aim for moderation. 1 or 2 regular cups a day is generally fine for most adults. If you crave a boost in the afternoon, try stretching your legs or drinking a glass of cold water. It's amazing how much the body can perk up without the hidden risks. Now, while too much caffeine can be dangerous, our next situation is even more concerning: when coffee and severe high blood pressure collide. For most people, a cup or 2 of coffee may not cause serious trouble, but for someone already living with severe high blood pressure, too much caffeine becomes a dangerous gamble. It acts like a spark, causing blood vessels to tighten and pushing blood pressure even higher. When the heart is already struggling against that resistance, it's like adding more weight to a bridge that's already cracked. One strong gust, and the whole system can give way, sometimes in the form of a sudden stroke. I think of Linda, a 70-year-old grandmother who had lived with hypertension for years. Her doctors advised her to limit her caffeine, but she loved her coffee and often drank 3 or 4 cups a day. One morning, she felt her chest pounding and her vision blurring. That scare landed her in the emergency room. Thankfully, it wasn't a stroke, but her cardiologist was clear. If she wanted to stay safe, she had to cut back drastically. Linda switched to just one small cup in the morning, often choosing herbal tea in the afternoon. Her blood pressure readings soon became steadier, and she finally felt in control again. For anyone with high blood pressure, the safer path is to keep coffee intake minimal, replacing extra cups with alternatives like decaf or calming teas. This small adjustment not only protects the heart, but helps prevent the sudden spikes that can put the brain in danger. And now that we've explored the risks, let's shift to the brighter news. The kinds of coffee that can actually help protect your brain and your heart. Not all coffee is harmful. In fact, the way you brew it can make all the difference. When coffee is made with a paper filter, like in a drip machine, something remarkable happens. The paper quietly traps most of the natural oils that raise bad cholesterol, leaving you with all the comforting flavor, but without the compounds that can harm your arteries. It's a simple step that turns an everyday drink into a safer ally for your health. I recall Mr. Davis, a 67-year-old retired firefighter who used to enjoy Turkish coffee every morning. His doctor suggested switching to paper-filtered drip coffee. At first, he worried it wouldn't taste the same. But after a few weeks, not only did he grow to love the lighter, smoother flavor, but his cholesterol readings began to improve. For him, the switch wasn't about giving something up. It was about gaining peace of mind and protecting the health he'd worked so hard to maintain. If you want to keep the richness of coffee while lowering the risks, this is one of the easiest habits to adopt. Simply brew with a paper filter, and you will retain most of the benefits while reducing the burden on your arteries. It's a small choice, but over time, small choices add up. And speaking of small changes, the next type of coffee shows how even a single, modest cup can offer protection without overwhelming your body. There's a simple truth about coffee. Sometimes, less really is more. A single cup of plain black coffee, enjoyed without sugar or cream, can actually be protective. It's rich in antioxidants, those tiny defenders that help reduce inflammation and improve circulation. When enjoyed in moderation, about 1 cup a day, it can gently support brain function and keep blood vessels more flexible. The key is balance. Too much caffeine strains the system, but a modest amount works like a steady friend rather than a forceful intruder. I think of Robert, a 64-year-old mechanic who used to drink coffee all day at the shop. After retiring, he noticed his heart would race in the evenings, and he had trouble sleeping. His doctor suggested scaling back to just 1 cup in the morning, plain and unsweetened. At first, Robert missed the sweetness, but within weeks he felt calmer, slept better, and still enjoyed the comforting ritual of his morning mug. That small change didn't take away his joy. It gave it back. If you love the warmth of coffee, but worry about your health, the simplest path is to pour 1 modest cup, savor it slowly, and then let your body rest. Try adding a sprinkle of cinnamon or nutmeg for flavor instead of sugar. You'll keep the ritual you love, while cutting out the parts that do harm. And as you'll see next, even for those who need to avoid caffeine altogether, coffee can still offer surprising benefits. Many people assume that once the caffeine is gone, coffee loses its purpose. But that's not the whole story. Decaf still carries valuable compounds like polyphenols, which help protect blood vessels and reduce inflammation. For older adults who are sensitive to caffeine, those who notice palpitations, poor sleep, or spikes in blood pressure, decaf provides the comfort of a warm cup without the overstimulation. It's a way of keeping the ritual alive while letting the body rest. Take Helen, a 71-year-old retired nurse who adored her morning coffee, but struggled with restless nights and a racing heart. Her doctor suggested switching to decaf. At first, she worried it would taste flat, but after finding a good dark roast decaf, she realized the flavor was nearly identical. The difference? Her sleep improved, her heart no longer raced, and she still enjoyed her morning routine. Helen often says she feels like she gained back both her coffee and her peace. For anyone curious, choose a high-quality decaf that uses a safe removal method, like the Swiss water process. Enjoy it with breakfast or as a calming evening ritual, without the worry of a sleepless night. Decaf proves that coffee doesn't have to come at a cost. And if you think decaf is a compromise, wait until you hear how the deeper, bolder side of coffee, dark roast, can bring unexpected protection to the brain. When coffee beans are roasted longer and darker, something fascinating happens. The heat creates compounds called phenylenediamines, which researchers have found may help prevent harmful proteins in the brain from clumping together. These proteins, amyloid beta and tau, are linked to conditions like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. In other words, the bold flavor of a dark roast doesn't just warm you up. It may be quietly guarding your brain from age-related decline. I remember James, a 68-year-old retired musician who loved experimenting with different brews. He'd always believed light roast was healthier, but after learning about the benefits of dark roast, he gave it a try. The deeper, smokier flavor soon became his favorite. He later shared how his memory felt sharper, and he enjoyed the ritual even more, knowing that each cup might be offering protection for his future. To enjoy this benefit, choose a high-quality dark roast and brew it simply, without adding heavy creams or sugars that could cancel out the good. Let that rich taste remind you that sometimes the stronger path is also the wiser one. And speaking of strength, our final coffee may surprise you. It isn't roasted dark at all. In fact, it stays light and green, offering a different kind of support for your heart and blood vessels. While dark roast brings boldness, light roast, and even unroasted green coffee beans carry a different kind of strength. These lighter brews hold on to higher levels of chlorogenic acid, a natural antioxidant that supports lower blood pressure and healthier blood sugar. For the brain and heart, this provides protection over the long run, like laying a steady foundation to reduce the risk of stroke as the years go by. The flavor is gentler, sometimes slightly tangy, but the benefits run deep. I think of Margaret, a 66-year-old librarian who was dealing with borderline high blood pressure. She wasn't ready for medication and wanted to explore gentler lifestyle changes. Her doctor suggested trying green coffee extract. Within months, Margaret saw her numbers improve, and she felt more energetic. She still enjoyed her morning ritual, but now took comfort knowing her coffee choice was also working to keep her blood vessels healthy. If you're curious, you don't have to give up your favorite brew. Simply rotate in a lighter roast or try a cup of green coffee a few times a week. It's a small shift in taste that over time may bring lasting support to your heart and brain. Now that we've explored both the risks and the benefits, let's bring it all together. Today, you've seen that coffee isn't just a habit. It can be a hidden risk or a quiet protector, depending entirely on how it's prepared and how much you drink. From unfiltered brews that strain the heart to paper-filtered cups that bring comfort without harm. Every choice you make shapes the future of your health. It isn't about giving up what you love. It's about choosing wisely so that each sip adds to your well-being instead of taking away from it. And if there is one lesson to carry with you, it is this. A healthy lifestyle will always outweigh any single food or drink. The way you balance sleep, movement, and stress matters more than whether you choose a dark or a light roast. But when our small, daily rituals can tip the scale, why not let them tip it toward protection and strength? I would love to hear from you. Has coffee ever affected your sleep, your blood pressure, or your energy in a way that surprised you? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience could inspire someone else to make a healthier choice. And remember, we read and respond to everyone. If you found this helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to Health 365, and explore our other videos for more practical ways to keep your heart and brain strong. Until next time, take good care of yourself, and may your next cup be one that truly supports your health.